Hello friends, I am Hardik Patel. Welcome back to our Tech channel. In previous video we converted synchronous consumer to asynchronous consumer. And now in this video we are going to see how token authentication works with WebSocket connections. So in previous videos we talked about how we can get the user using session authentication, right? So in this video we will see how we can utilize token authentication with our WebSocket connection. And why we need this token authentication with WebSocket? In case if you want to use this WebSocket APIs in mobile application where we do not have cookie or session, right? So in that case, this is going to be very much helpful, and so that's why I'm going to create this video for you. So let's get started. So to understand token authentication with WebSocket, we must have implemented token authentication in our Django application, where user can log in using username and password and can get the token. So that's the token will be useful to send that while connecting to WebSockets, right? So I'm not going to implement token authentication in Django in this video, but in fact I will say that you can go to my Django series video, not Django series but Django REST framework series, where we have dedicated video for token authentication, right? So just go there and check, but still I will show you how I have added token authentication in our demo chat application project. Okay, so first we have to install Django REST framework package, right? So it's very basic, pip install Django REST framework. After installing Django REST framework, you need to do something in settings.py where you need to configure and you have to install that application. And how can we install that? You just need to write two lines in installed apps. First, REST framework, and second is REST framework dot auth token. An auth token application is useful to build token authentication login APIs, right? This is now installed, and installing that you need to add few more configuration like REST framework, where you need to define or declare what authentication and what permission classes you are going to use by default. So this is the default authentication which you are going to use while implementing REST APIs. But in our project we are not going to implement REST APIs, but we are going to use the token after login into connecting WebSockets. Right, so for now these are the basic configurations you need to make, or you need to add in the settings.py, where token authentication default and is authenticated is the default permission class. After adding this, you need to run one command, that is python manage.py migrate, which will migrate the database with the migration files are available in auth token package. Okay, so that will create the token model inside the database. So that table will be useful to store the tokens of the user. Okay, and that we are going to use to retrieve the user using the token. All right, so this is all about how we can configure REST framework. After configuration of REST framework, you need to add the login API, so we can use that login API to create the token. All right, so let's go to the urls.py, where I have added already one API path, that is API/login, and login is the method which I have implemented, or you can say view, right? Method function based view. So this is the view we have imported, so let's go to that. So here is the login, where everyone should be allowed to log in. That's why permission classes are set that allow any, and if you don't set this will check by default is authenticated, right? We already knew that in settings.py we have set that is default permission class. So if you don't set this allow any, this will not allow to log in to each and every user if user is not logged in, and that is not the case we want here, right? Who are not logged in, for those this login function is there. So we should allow everyone, and this API must be post API, so they need to add post username and password in the post parameters. That's why we are using post method, and CSRF exempt is required because we are not going to use the session at all. All right, so all right, so you know, I'm not going to explain this whole function because this is already explained in my dedicated video of token authentication. So just go there and check it out. All right, so now login API is ready here. We just need to use that login API and we just need to get the token. And that token we are going to use other way, like loading the page and also connecting to the WebSocket connection. Okay, so here is I have used call request. So as you can see here, okay, here it is. So I have already used that and get the token for two users. First is Arav, and this is the token for Arav, and Hardik, and this is token for Hardik. Okay, so we are going to use this both the token, so we can check it out. Our application is working fine, and this chatting is working fine, similar to session based authentication, right? So now token authentication is completely done. Now we are going to use the token, but how we can use? So there are two parts we need to do. First part is that our chat.html page where we were using session based authentication. So this is the function we were using till now, and where we were just checking that if request.user is authenticated, if user is not authenticated, then we were doing this one, and if authenticated, then we were doing these two lines only. But now I have added these many lines to check it out for token authentication as well. And I have to do because chat HTML file is using the logged in user here, like this, right? Here it is, see, user and me, and in that view, where is that views? Yeah, here we are getting that context data function is there. So we were using till now self.request.user, but now if user is not logged in through session, that means request.user is not available. So in that case, what I have to do, I have just need to get token from the get parameters, and then I need to check it out, and I will get the token object, and then from token object I will get the user. So what I am doing, I am assigning to this self.user, which can be used further. I'll check that if user is none, then definitely we need login. So there are two cases. If session is also not logged in and we have also not passed token, in that case it will redirect to our admin login page. Okay, but if user is not logged in through session and if we have passed the token, then this self.user will be having the user logged in. So this will be true, and in that case it will render the page for us. Okay, so let's see how that pages works. So let me run the application. Not here, here it is. So after running, what we need to do here, that we need to refresh this page. Alright, so server is running now. Let me refresh this page. So what happens, let's see. So as you can see, it has redirected me to login page, and I am not logged in here, and that is why it is saying that is why it is redirecting to login page, right? But we don't want that. We need to pass this token. So as you can see, I have already tested it out, and this token we have passed 38DDE, right? So what is that token for? Here it is, right? So it is the token for Arav user, and as you can see, U is Arav and third is for Hardik, because we have passed Hardik as user, other username, right? So this page is loading properly, but if you send the message, it will not work, right? Because our WebSocket connection is not established properly. As you can see here, ID expected a number but got this one. So as you can see, it passed user lazy object, because let me show you that as well so you can understand. So let's go to the routings.py. So this is the routing.py where we are using auth middleware stack, which is just check for session authentication and the cookie authentication. If there is no session passed in the request, then it will check for the cookie, and even cookie is not also set, then in that case it will always pass the user as user lazy object, which is not actual concrete user object, right? And that is why our consumers.py, it is not working properly, because in this self.scope user will be there, but that will be not a user object, and because of that this will fail, right? And further it will not work, and it will disconnect that WebSocket connection. So that is one thing. now what we need to do, we need to add the token authentication to this routing here. So as we check for session, and the same way we have to check for the token. So and how this works. So as you know that in settings.py we were setting middlewares where it executes the request from top to bottom, right? So it checks each and everything. First, there is session middleware where it checks if session exists there, then it will attach the user to request. Same way we have to do here, right? So this is the ultimately what is this in this auth middleware stack. So as you can see here in the bracket in the tooltip, inner, here it is, and this inner is ASGI application, right? So we just need to create one like this token middleware, and inside there we need to pass this whole function like this. That way what we are doing here, this token middleware is our own middleware for checking token authentication. And if token authentication is there, I mean token is there, then we are going to add that user into that scope, and that scope will be available to this function, and then further this function, and then further this consumer, right? That way it executes, and that way you will have that user object available in scope, and our consumers will work as it was working early with the session authentication. Now let's implement this token middleware. In fact, I'm not going to implement, but I have already added that, and this will be committed to our source code, so you will be able to see that. And I'm just going to explain for now. So this is the class which we are uh, writing, okay? And in this class we are just having init method, okay? So where we are just taking that inner is ASGI application, and we are assigning that ASGI application to inner, and this class must be callable. As you can see here in token, we are just using that as a callable function, so callable class. So that's why we need to implement call method as well, and that call method accepts scope from the parent class. So if we have another parent class, I mean another top level middleware, then it can return us that scope, and that scope we are getting inside this call function, right? And that token that scope will have few details which parent middleware has already added, right? That way we need to use this scope, we need to modify it, and then return the inner, okay? So for now we are not directly using this call method, but instead we are just creating another class which can have asynchronous call method. In Django 3.0, after 3.0, which supports async functions natively, and that is why we need to do this like this. Otherwise, if you are using less than Django 3.0, then in that case you don't need to use this async. Directly you can use everything synchronously, and it will work fine. But in the case of Django 3.0 or greater than that, you need to write like this way, okay? So you need to create another class which will have call method but asynchronous. It will receive two arguments, receive and send. So ultimately this will be like as you can say request and response, right? In normal middleware we are having request and response, so same way here we are having receive and send. So whatever we receive, it is receive, and whenever a consumer sends back something, it will call this. So that way we are just modifying this like we are getting user asynchronously. So this get user function is already here, which accepts the scope argument where we are having this query string, okay? And the same logic we used in views.py to get the token, here it is, right? So same way we are getting the user and we are returning it. If that token doesn't exist, that means user is not logged in, so we are returning the anonymous user. And even this token is not passed, so that means it will raise the key error, and also we are passing the anonymous user for that purpose as well. So now we are having the user and we are assigning it to the scope, inside the scope user as a user key, and now we are passing that scope to the inner class, I mean inner ASG application, and that inner we are returning with receive and send argument. Okay, so this is very simple and you don't need to understand much more, but if you want to customize it a little bit, you can go and further look into this session middleware as well, that is inbuilt class of Django channels, and it can help you to understand how can you customize more. But I think this is more enough to understand. Suppose you are using that JWT token middleware, then in that case you need to just change this function, get user. There is nothing you need to do. Why? Because this is the ultimate purpose we want to do. You need to get the token. If your JWT token, then you just need to decode that JWT token, and from that you can get the user ID, and then you will get the user using that ID, and just need to assign that to that user key in the scope, right? So that's very basic, and that's why we have just kept this get user function separate, so you can just modify this according to your need. All right, so this is token authentication middleware. Now I am just closing it, and as you can see we have already this one added in the routing.py, but we have to import that. So from chat dot token authentication stack, import token auth middleware. All right, so we just need to change it here. All right, so now this consumers will accept both the authentication, token as well as session authentication. So if you are logged in with admin page, then it will accept by this. But if you are not logged in and instead you have passed token in the query parameter, then it will accept this. Now one more thing I would like to say, that is why we are sending the token into query parameters instead of getting the token in the authorization header. So we can accept that here and it can work here, but there is a limitation from the client side. So as of now there is no client which supports properly to send the authorization header, and because of that you will not be able to send token in authorization, and instead that you have to pass the token into get parameter. All right, so that is the reason we are accepting this token through query string, and that's how we have implemented, right? So now this token auth middleware we have set up here. That means if the token is passed into WebSocket request, this chat consumer will have that user available in the scope. All right, now let's go and check the chat.html where we are sending token, so which I have also changed a little bit. So till now what we were doing, that ws, this ws and then path name, right? So till now we were doing that. Okay, what we are doing here now, so we are just getting that href. And what is that href? That is this whole href, it will be returned to us, where we are just separating by question mark. Okay, after separating by question mark we will have this value only this, and then I am just checking that parts dot length is equal to 2. That means only one question mark is there in the url. Then what I am doing, url plus is equal to question mark plus parts1. That means I am attaching, yes, whatever whatever I have selected already, that will be attached to this, right? So what will be the url ultimately? ws colon localhost 8000 ws plus chat hardik, right? And then question mark, and then this token parameter, right? So we are good to go, right? We have the url which we wanted, and let me see if we are getting it or not. So server is restarted now after adding the token middleware into our routing.py, and that means it should accept the token from the query parameter, and the WebSocket connection should be happen successfully, right? So let's see and refresh the page first. Okay, so there is no error and there is nothing wrong here happened. So as you can see here, we got the request chat hardik question mark token equal to this, and then we just hit this ws chat hardik, and here this WebSocket connection, I mean this is ASGI server which is not printing whole argument, whole URL, but in fact it just print the path. So you will not be able to see the query parameters similar to this here, but yes, it is already sending that, and we are now inside connect where our connection is established successfully. So before we were not able to send the message as we did check, right? So now I am just sending the message again, send, and as you can see now we are able to receive that message back into this from the Hardik, sorry, from the arrow. Let me do this way so you can understand, right? So now you are able to send the message from here to here, right? Let me show you that we are not logged in through session, so you must be sure that we are not using session now, instead we are using token, right? So that's pretty much from this video. Now you are able to use the token with the WebSocket, and that's why you will be able to this WebSocket APIs in mobile application as well. Okay, so yeah, that's pretty much from this video. Thank you very much and see you soon in the next video.